So we're starting a new unit called Expressions and Equations. And in this unit, we're going to go over a few different types of topics. We're going to look at substituting for the variable. We're going to look at writing algebraic expressions, how to simplify expressions, so combining like terms, combining down so that we have the fewest number of terms possible in the expression. And we're going to look at solving equations for the variable. So I want you to think about what is the difference between an expression and an equation. Just take a moment and think about that. What is the difference between an expression and an equation? Both expressions and equations have terms. Those are the numbers and the variables that are in the problem. They have variables, they have constants. Constants are the term that's just the number, like +5. It also has operations, your plus sign, your minus sign, your multiplication, your division. The biggest difference is your expression does not have an equal sign, so there is no answer that's written. You will find the answer, but there is none yet. The equation has the equal sign and has an answer. And the equations, the way they're written, you can always solve for the missing variable or the missing piece. For the expressions, we need to tell you what the variable equals. So we're going to take a few expressions and we're going to work on putting in the values for the variables and solving the expressions. So I have the expression -8xy. And I'm going to substitute 1/4 for x and -2 for y. Well, -8xy. There's no operation signs there. I don't know if I'm adding, if I'm subtracting, if I'm multiplying or dividing. I got to figure out what to do. Well, I have to think about different ways to write problems. And I know that in algebra, we don't always use, or we can't use an x to show multiplication. We show multiplication different ways. We either put parentheses around the terms, or we put a dot in between them, like up in the middle. Or in the case of numbers and letters, like this problem, we just put the numbers and letters next to each other. And when there's no signs or no operations between them, we know we have to multiply. So we know that we have to multiply -8 times x times y. So in this problem, that x is not multiplication, it is a variable. And I'm going to substitute a number for that variable. So I'm going to substitute 1/4 for x and -2 for y. And the first thing I'm going to do, or step 1, is to rewrite my expression substituting the numbers for each variable. I'm going to put parentheses around the numbers to show multiplication now. And then I'm going to think about what do I need to do to solve this problem. Working from left to right is step 2. I'm going to follow order of operations, or PEMDAS, and I'm going to solve this problem working left to right. So the first two terms I'm multiplying together are -8 and +1/4. When I am multiplying with a fraction, I know that I'm going to have to take the whole number and turn that into a fraction as well. And to do that, I can write it as a fraction whose denominator is 1. So I'm going to write my expression as such. I'm also going to look and think, well, to cross cancel, I'm looking at a numerator and a denominator. And I can see that I can have my 4 and my 8. I can simplify that by dividing both of those numbers. So I end up getting a -2/1 times a 1/1. And when I go to my next slide, I see that I can simplify that even further to -2 times 1 times -2. So step 3 is to look at your expression at this point and think about what your answer is going to be. Is it going to be a positive number, a negative number, a whole number, a fraction, a decimal? What is it going to look like? And we do this as a way to help us check to see if our answer is reasonable. Well, looking at these numbers, I know it's going to be a whole number, my answer. And I know that my answer will be a positive number. So I go through and solve. Negative 2 times 1 is a negative 2. And I bring down the second term. And I now have two negative numbers that I multiply together. And I know that I have a trilogy when I'm looking at multiplying negative and positive numbers. And the trilogy is a negative times a negative gives me a positive. So I know that a negative 2 times a negative 2 is going to be a positive 4. So we're going to look at some other problems where we're substituting. We're plugging in a 1/2 for x and a negative 3 for y. And each time we substitute, we're going to follow our steps. We're going to substitute and rewrite our problem. We're going to work left to right following order of operations. And then we're going to think about our answer. Should our answer be a positive number, a negative number? Should it be a whole number or a fraction? And as we work through our problem, we get to our solution.